Hey, good morning. Scott Luton, Greg White with you here on Supply Chain Now. Welcome to today's live stream. Greg, how you doing?
Barely made it. Doing well.
Just in time. Come on, if we learned anything this year, just in time, JIT. But Greg, great to have you. We are, as we've been talking about internally, we've got a jam-packed show here on the Supply Chain Buzz where we tackle some of the most important developments across industry. And Greg, a lot of folks are taking it easy, moving easily into what is Christmas week. We are not, are we?
Well, not today, for sure, right?
Well, we have got two out. So beyond some of the headlines we're going to share with our community, and we're going to say hello to a bunch of folks that are tuning in now. But we've got two outstanding guests, two great friends of the show. Our community has heard from them already on live streams. We've got them right here in our digital studio. We've got Rhonda Bumpenza Zimmerman, PhD, joining us here in a few minutes. And then the one and only Demostenes Perez also joining us about 12:30-ish or so. So are you excited as I am?
I am. And I feel like I know Rhonda, particularly. We already knew Demo, but I feel like we know Rhonda from all of the interaction we've had with her, just either in these shows or discussions online. So
Agreed.
Yeah, it'll be good to actually hear her speak.
Exactly. And you know, she's going to be talking about some of top 3 tips for optimizing your mental well-being during these crazy times. And then
Wow.
Demo.
So considering my start to this show, I could really use that little.
Oh boy. And Demo is
aligning my chakras.
Some of his key takeaways from 2020, and as well as one supply chain story he's tracking more than others here lately. So full show lined up. We're going to tackle headlines in just a moment first, though. But before we do, let's say hello to a few folks. Azalea, excited to be here today. Tuned in via LinkedIn. Great to be for you to be here with us as well. Azalea, good morning. Kavan, great to have you back with us as always via LinkedIn. Hope this finds you and your family well. Daria, bringer of the pain. Daria, great to have you on a live stream again. Really have enjoyed your commentary on social media. Pratik, really same as well. You had an interesting comment when we were talking about artificial intelligence, and your phrase was, it is actually the genuine intelligence. So love that commentary, Pratik. Great to see you. Let's see, Samson from Nigeria via LinkedIn. Great to have you, Samson. Prabhakaran, and I apologize, I'm mispronouncing that, but hello via LinkedIn. Great to have you here. Kartik via LinkedIn. Saman also via LinkedIn. Sophia, one of our favorites, is tuned in here.
Throwing out the Christmas vibes.
Yes.
Yeah. Practically summer where she's at.
Azalea says she is currently an MBA grad student at Regent University, looking to start her career in supply chain and logistics. If anyone has tips on how to get started, I'd love to connect.
Oh boy, do they.
Those are some.
Be careful what you ask for.
Agreed. Hey, those are.
No, seriously, there's a lot of great folks to contribute here, right?
And those are some of our favorite questions and folks in the stream. So, Azalea, hopefully you can make connections, get tips and insights from our community here that bring it every single time on these live streams. So thanks for joining us, and we'll circle back to make sure you've got hopefully several pages of notes today. But congrats on your burgeoning career. All right, so Greg, we are going to start with let's dive into the headlines so we can get both of our featured guests in here today in the jam-packed edition of the Supply Chain Buzz. Let's dive into our first story here today, where you're going to tell us all about how retail advantages are shifting.
Yeah. So yes, it is advantage to the stores right now, because if you haven't ordered it by now, chances are good it's not going to arrive by Christmas, right? So, so physical stores are beginning to take over. Last Saturday was Super Saturday. We're going to talk a little bit about the numbers on that, but even the big e-com behemoths, Amazon and Walmart, are touting their last minute in-store and online delivery options. So encouraging people, as they were encouraging people to order early, now they're encouraging people to order as late as Christmas Eve. So Don't know how that's going to work, but let me throw some numbers at you. This is fascinating. So the NRF, the National Retail Federation, on Friday said it expected 87 million people to head to physical stores to shop on Super Saturday, which is also known as Small Business Saturday. Including online, NRF estimated 150 million shoppers on Saturday. All right, the numbers aren't in yet, but the volumes appeared pretty high over the weekend. The take over the weekend, not equal. However, the rush continues to evade small business. The difficulty in getting and staying open, whether they are e-commerce equipped or not, has had a big impact on the success of these companies. According to a Small Business Saturday survey conducted by SurveyMonkey and CNBC, 43% of shoppers plan to spend less this holiday season than they did in 2019, and only 6% plan to shop small, meaning plan to spend most of their money on Small Business Saturday. But every little bit counts. We don't know what the numbers should be this year, but check this out. Just over half of the consumers, about 52%, expect to finish their holiday shopping online, but that won't necessarily mean they miss that trip to the store. Why? Because buy online, pick up in store, BOPUS rose 75% from October of 2019 to 2020. So there are a couple of other things coming into play. The prolific, some might say generous surcharges, generous to themselves, that the USPS, UPS, and FedEx have, along with the fact that their Christmas delivery deadlines have already passed, has motivated retailers to use other partners for delivery, such as, Scott, your favorite, Instacart, my favorite, Bring, and Shipt, which is part of the Target organization, but also provides last mile delivery to other companies. So if you want it by Christmas, you better get to the store, shop local, grab it, pop it in the trunk, and drive home fast.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So much. This is going to be, it continues a trend. Every one of these holidays during this pandemic environment is just such a huge study in business adjustment and rolling with the punches and finding new ways of serving the consumer in a safe and an effective and successful manner. It's really just, it's fascinating to see these e-commerce or these retail reports come in.
Yeah, I got to tell you that this article and the adjacent articles that I used to research this really concern me for small business. What I think we've seen during this time is big business continue to get and grow business because they are identified as essential, regardless of what they sell. And small retailers who sell exactly the same thing, or maybe segments of what those essential retailers sell, are not deemed essential. And that really concerns me. I mean, seriously, I am thinking about how I can help support them other than shopping.
Right.
Do we need a significant investment effort? Because about 75% of these companies say that if they don't get significant uplift in the holidays, they're going to go out of business.
Right. Wow.
So essentially, a lot of those companies are going to have to start over, and we need to have a significant intentional effort to keep and get alive smaller businesses, lest we be stuck with only Amazon, Walmart, and Target.
Right. Excellent commentary there. And of course, the article Greg is referring to, the main one here, is this great read from Retail Dive by Daphne Howland. So y'all check it out. Of course, we're big fans of the Dive family of programming. They did some great reporting as referenced by today's leadoff story. So appreciate that, Greg. And, you know, there's a ton of comments here, attention around the quarantine and some of the changes they're making, and you know, our you know, best wishes and thoughts and prayers certainly with each of y'all wherever you hail from. I know that from Canada to UK and around the world, they've got different the lockdowns going in different directions. So we hope this finds you and your families really safe and sound during this holiday season. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna break through. The challenges have just we have not surpassed all of them. So, but there is good news if you look for it, and we'll touch on some of that.
And they're a day. You got to remember, they are a full day ahead of us in Oz and Singapore, where they're one day closer to celebrating Christmas. So
That's right.
they've got an even more sense of urgency.
That is right. Well, before we take the Chris Berman approach through rocking and rolling, bumbling and stumbling through the rest of the supply chain headlines, let's grab a couple of comments from everybody. Yeah. So Tom says, "You guys started without me again. You guys are the worst." Hey, Tom, great to see you. Congrats on your continued.
You need to set your alarm for a minute or two earlier. Right. We could give you a call.
That's right.
But it's international rates.
Peter says supporting local small business is a must. They form the backbone of the community. Excellent commentary.
Amen.
Peter. Gary, great to see you. Gary says support your local small businesses. Perez says with all the lockdowns, people they've got to anticipate their orders. Charge on the 24th will probably be less than previous years. No. Greg, any quick take there?
Judging by the parcel carrier's generosity to themselves and their bottom line, I'm going to say that the charges are going to be pretty high. Now, basically, and you guys probably remember this if you've watched us at all, UPS basically did the Marie Antoinette, is that right? Let them eat cake statement. Charge it through to the consumers. They probably won't even notice. As long as we get our money, we don't really care. And that seems to be pretty universal with the carriers that are out there. So I think the strategy, this may have backfired a bit, but I think the strategy to use other delivery services like Instacart and Postmates and Bring and others could create some actual competition in the marketplace that brings these big carriers to heel.
Great points. Pratik, let's see here. Over here in India, the government's planning to impose lockdowns, which might really affect last mile delivery. So Pratik, hopefully all the best to you and your family.
Stage 4 in the UK as well. They're closing down non-essential businesses, which is everybody but Tesco or somebody like that, I'm sure.
Agreed. And on a much lighter note, Amanda weighs in. I've ordered strictly online and BOPUS due to the awful shipping delays. I have preferred BOPUS, still waiting on packages ordered on Black Friday. Grr. Yeah, so Amanda wouldn't let me share. I made a little meme this morning, and we'll see if it pops up later this week. But hey,
we'll see. No guarantees, gang. But I
usually, hey, if Amanda vetoes it, those vetoes do not get overridden like some in the U.S. Congress. But all right, so let's keep driving. We've got so much to talk about. And by the way, hello, Mike Aver. Great to have you here with us.
Yeah.
Enjoyed what you're sharing via social. Larry Klein, great to have you here. He says local businesses, as long as they know how to treat the customer. Many around my hometown don't get my business since I built my house. How about that? All right. But Larry, great to have you.
That sounds like a story there, doesn't it?
That's right. Oh, one special, Latia Thomas, congratulations.
Holy mackerel.
On your graduation.
Yeah.
So Latia graduated here recently from Morgan State University, and she's already doing big things in the industry. So y'all make sure you connect with her. And Latia, Azalea Davis is on the live stream. She is going to be starting her career in supply chain logistics, and she's looking to make connections and get some insight. So y'all two should hook up for sure. All right. So
everybody,
that's right.
Give back, give forward.
So let's move.
Hey, we have a new first time joining. We have a first time caller.
First time.
Ariana Barr. So welcome aboard.
Absolutely. I'll see if I can't find her in the comments here momentarily, and we'll say hello the proper way. All right. So a few headlines, Greg, as we keep driving on this Monday, December 21st. So good news. Second vaccine has gained approval here in the States, at least. Moderna, 20 million doses out by the end of the month. Rural communities and nursing home distributions are going to see a boost. And the Army Corps of Engineers, and we've referenced here in the States about the role of the military and optimizing distribution, but they're also working to optimize just sheer production capacity. The Army Corps of Engineers has been working with Moderna to boost their capacity for vaccine production. All right, I mentioned we're going to be moving fast here. Freight tech continues to be hot. Freight tech, logistics tech, supply chain tech, you name it. Greg, the Wizard of Wichita, I'm sure has a comment here. Project 44 just raised $100 million. It comes, of course, on the heels of Flock Freight, Load Smart, Full Truck Alliance, you name it. More and more winners in funding. Quick commentary from you, Greg.
I hope they spend it on actual tech. It seems like a lot of these freight techs are logistics companies with dashboards or control towers, which are just reports. So I'm hopeful that we get to some tech that actually optimizes the practice, right? With that kind of money, I would think Project 44 would be able to do that.
Agreed. Oh, places you could go with $100 million.
Yeah.
Food Logistics announced its 17th annual awards. They put out a lot of great content I've always enjoyed. Several friends of the show on this list. Big Show Bob and the AccuSpeech Mobile team. Cindy, Brianne, Amanda, all our friends over at Alloy. Blue Ridge Global, one of the winners, and many, many others. But y'all check out the full list. I think we can find that and drop that in the comments. But we enjoy what Food Logistics puts out regularly. Keep driving here. So recent study by Oceana has reported that Amazon was responsible for 465 million pounds of plastic packaging waste in 2019. Shame, Greg. Now, Amazon, of course, refutes the findings and says it's overblown by 350%. So I didn't do my math coming on, but it's still, even if that is true, that is still a ton and tons.
That is still 100 million pounds of plastic waste.
That is right. Lockheed Martin is solidifying and stabilizing its global supply chain in a $4.4 billion B as in Bezos deal as it acquires Aerojet Rocketdyne Holdings. $4.4 billion. So again, it's basically insourcing one of its biggest global supply chain partners. And finally, I love to see this. Look, you and I have talked a lot about nice practical examples of blockchain, right?
Yeah.
Well, we love our wine around these parts. Talk about things that get you through the year. But IBM is using blockchain to track wine supply, or it's applying blockchain to wine supply. Amongst the benefits, in the wine industry, tracing where it's from, and especially French wine, in other regions, it's got to be, the grapes have to be from a certain region to be called certain wines, right?
Right.
Champagne in particular. But amongst these benefits, ID codes that Big Blue's been putting on these bottles and in partnership with the myriad of folks that are involved in wine supply chain is going to enable consumers to learn about provenance, quote, provenance and flavor profiles, Greg. Provenance, your favorite word.
Mine and Chris Barnes' favorite word, provenance. Yeah. I think that's really important. It's, there are so many other industries, believe it or not to go right there, but tequila also has to come from the Jalisco province in Mexico. So similar to champagne, and there are other types of issues that, I can see that there is the potential. We've always talked about that, right? Olive oil, not from Popeye, but not olive oil, Popeye's girlfriend, but olive oil from mostly Italy and Spain. And I'm sure a dozen other places that are about to be listed in the comments. But that is a highly counterfeited product. So all of those things are valuable. And of course, whenever it helps the consumer, I think that's fantastic. As much as the supply chain. The
Agreed.
consumer is the beginning and the end of the supply chain.
Absolutely. And to that point, we got to recognize a few comments before we bring in our first guest here today. Sophia says, is Amazon the only one responsible of that waste, or also us for ordering? Excellent point, Sophia. One of my favorite options Amazon's rolled out is you can delay your shipment and put it in fewer boxes.
Yes.
I love that. It gives them flexibility, and it gives the consumer a chance to say, well, do I really need that in 2 hours or 2 days? So
what is your day? Do you know what your day is, Scott?
I think Wednesdays, but
I think maybe it's everybody's then, because that's mine also.
Well, so I was really bad about ordering kind of oh, I'm out of this, order that real quick. And I've tended to start grouping. So if I'm placing an order, I stop for a second and see, okay, what else is going to hit my radar? And that's helped me bundle what I order coming here. But Sophia, great point. Completely agree. Marie, counterfeit wine is a huge problem, way above my price point. Hey, I agree with you, Marie.
Yeah. I have a neighbor that I'm sure has that problem. I don't. I doubt that any of the wine I buy is any risk of being counterfeited.
Exactly. And Gary makes a great point, because Vidalia onions.
Excellent point.
Especially anyone in the U.S., as you're walking through your grocery aisle picking up onions, you'll notice that they're sweet Texas onions, which can't be called Vidalia.
But they often are. But here's the key. Aside from until blockchain is the solution, then any onion bigger than about 3 fingers of your fist is not a Vidalia. Vidalias are very small onions. If it's bigger than that, it's a Texas sweet.
Texas sweet, which is good. Trust me. Michael Avera says EU had the same problem going back to provenance and the alcohol industry with vodka years ago, and about what constituted vodka. That's interesting.
That is interesting. You think about the origins of vodka.
Yeah, I thought that's an open and shut case.
As long as it's scentless and tasteless and colorless, does it really matter where it came from?
Oh, I don't know.
The whole point is to be able to hide it when you're drinking at work.
I just like that nice.
He said
that got a chuckle out of Amanda. I heard it coming around the corner there. Greg, nice job. But practical applications of blockchain as we continue to adopt, this groundbreaking technology, and more folks kind of buy into just what it can do. So we'll keep sharing nice practical use cases that we can hopefully all relate to. All right, so let's do this. As much as we've got a ton of comments, but we got 2 outstanding guests, and we want to get y'all's comments on these guests here today.
Yeah.
So up first, we're going to be talking about tips for feeling good about the holiday season. So let's welcome in our first guest today, Rhonda Bumpinza Zimmerman, PhD, Director of Fitness and Wellness at Global Trans.
Hey,
Rhonda,
nice to be here with you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Feel
Greg,
better,
I was thinking,
Doc.
take a deep breath. That's one of those things.
Yeah.
Well, hey, it is so neat to have. We really enjoyed your commentary and some of these past live streams and your excellent and unique social media approach. We don't hear enough about mental wellness, and when we do, it's that traditional stigma that seems to be attached to it. And so I appreciate all the great things you've been preaching from the mountaintop, and we'd love to have you here today, sharing some tips that we should all keep in mind.
Yeah, it's been an interesting year. We are finally seeing more people share their stories about some of the struggles they're having. I'm going to take my earpiece out. We're hearing some people talk, about their struggles, and while we're hearing everybody's stories, we're learning to show more compassion and be more inclined to share our experiences, which, usually mental health, there's a negative connotation around that. And I kind of look at it as fostering brain health, just like taking care of our body. Our brain also needs nurturement. So there's some things we can do for that.
Excellent point. And you know what? I made a mistake, and thank you, David, always on time, because you do.
I did not know this.
Of Hold My Beer with some other talented folks, and we should never shortchange credentials. And David, thank you so much for that.
Thanks,
I'm a terrible
Dave.
follower. And first of all, how would I ever miss a show called Hold My Beer?
It's a good time. It kind of has that cheer vibe about it. Just a bunch of friends getting together, talking about this and that. We each have our own little personalities and perspectives.
Nicole and Trey and is it TJ? TJ,
Brandon.
Right. Yeah, Brandon. That's right. Well,
Tony. Yep.
I love the casual approach to all of that and having a real conversation. So we need a lot more of that. So let's get down to it. It's tough to probably tackle these things in 10-minute segments. But if you had to think of 3 three tips that we all should really embrace and keep in mind during the historically challenging holiday season 2020. What would the first one be?
Yeah, because it's certainly been very isolating and very lonely for a lot of people. There's a lot of research that demonstrates how important it is to have positive relationships. Just being in the same space with people that have a positive attitude really can do so much for our self-worth, our self-esteem, that emotional support. We're social creatures, we crave that. And we see in research how that really does change our brain chemistry. So it helps us deal with anxiety or if we're feeling a little blue. So I would say the first most important thing is to do like a self-analysis of your relationships. So if you have some toxic people in your life and maybe you cannot eliminate them for whatever reason.
They might live with you right now. Right?
Yeah.
It's just day and age.
And you're stuck. What do you do? It's planting seeds and having conversations with them, like explaining how you feel when they're negative energy, because you feel it, right? You have a physical response, not only a mental response. Just sharing that. Maybe they're not even aware of that. And then maybe share how you would like to see that relationship move forward. But it's got to be a give and take. You got to share. And then you also have to listen to what they have to say, because sometimes there's things we do that makes them feel maybe not so great about us. So I would say that would be first and foremost. And do that little inventory. And then when maybe you're feeling isolated or you need some assistance, reach out. We tend to put ourselves last. We have to prioritize. If we don't take care of ourselves, how are we going to help other people? How are we going to be successful in our jobs? So when you're feeling a little blue, don't be afraid to reach out. So that would be in the same category, I would say. And then, which is what I do, exercise. It's all about fitness and wellness. It's amazing just moving, and it doesn't have to be like a CrossFit crazy workout. Just something as simple as going out in nature, which also has its benefits. Just walking, moving, stretching, getting the blood flowing. It's amazing. And it doesn't have to be long increments. There's research showing just 4 to 6 minutes of movement. I was with someone this morning and we just did sit-stand exercises with some light weights. And it's funny, she actually said that when I was done talking to her. She's like, Rhonda, I feel amazing. There's a whole bunch of chemistry and stuff going on because we're made up of energy. We're, as humans, meant to move and smile. So while you're moving, jibber jabber, so you have that social interaction and smile. All those little things that we really don't think about and we might take for granted, they really can make us feel good. And the interesting thing with exercise is just a couple minutes. We have mitochondria. We've all heard about that in biology. They're the powerhouse of our cells. We really can double and triple the amount of power and energy these cells produce, particularly in our brains. So research has really shown the benefits of movement, just 2 to 3 minutes. So that would be my second one. You guys work out, by the way, regularly? I'm just curious.
Every day. No, we need to get more.
Greg stretching.
But Rhonda, quickly to your point, the other point you made is getting outside, nature and wildlife.
Yeah.
That's some of where we get our positive vibes around here. Just that quick departure from all things electronic. I write out this window here. I've got several, not to be cheesy and hokey, but hey, we all have different strokes, different folk. I got several bird feeders, and there has been a flurry of activity lately. Maybe that transition to the hardest, we don't get a hard winter down here in the Atlanta area, but that just taking a brief pause out the window, it's like a deep breath. It kind of reinvigorates you a little bit.
By the way, I used to live in Americus, Georgia for 4 years.
Oh, really? Americus?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then
Jimmy
you
Carter
didn't
country.
either, because it's even warmer down there than it is here. Right?
Very humid and gnats. We were below the Mason-Dixon line.
The gnat line, yeah.
Well, hey, quick comment. So to your point about exercise, because there's a ton of gadgets that help us self-manage that better. And Tom talks about how he's become very OCD about closing those rings on the fitness app on his phone. And that's been something that we've been trying to get these steps in, right? At that simple little measurement, it helps you keep going a little bit extra before you call it a day.
Yeah. I will say this, my husband, he struggles sometimes with, he's one of those people that likes to be by himself all the time. So I get him outside. What's that?
Even for 10 months?
Yeah. So I bought him one of these fitness watches. He was giving me a hard time about mine, and I was really bugging him, like, let's do something, let's move. And all of a sudden he started following my watch and seeing what I was doing. So for Christmas, I got him one because he's into it now. So there's really, and that's about that accountability too. So that helps show what you've done, and you feel a sense of accomplishments. So it's kind of like a positive relationship with our little apps, kind of, sort of. I like to think of it that way.
Well, I know that you've got a tight schedule today, and I want to protect your time. What's your third tip for really optimizing mental wellness, Rhonda?
I think mindfulness, whether it's through meditation or practicing kindness, which again, we've seen so much this year, that really does wonder for our brain health. Whether it's, listening to music and just being fully present with the song, poetry, reading, journaling, what have you. It's all about checking in with ourselves to see where our thoughts are, because our thoughts lead to emotional reactions. So doing like a little self checkup, and if you feel, you need a little boost or whatever, just take time to just be thankful, sit with it, and then take an actionable steps to change your brain chemistry. It really is amazing.
Excellent. Rhonda, I really appreciate you sharing these 3 quick tips and practical tips too, tips that anyone can take action on, right, Greg?
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the main concerns I had is lockdowns occurred and continued is just the tendency of people to hopefully jokingly talk about alcohol, right? There's time and a place probably to kind of cut loose with that, but I think there's so much more healthy things you can do just by creating some internal awareness, getting some of that energy out. Yeah. Pet your dog.
Yeah.
Right.
Pet
or get dogs.
Yes, Scott.
Get dogs. And we've known some folks
people have been doing that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It really, in fact,
have been off the roof. Yeah.
Yes, Rhonda. And that's a great thing to see. I saw some areas, I can't remember where I read this, but there were no more dogs to adopt. The supply chain for adopting dogs is running dry. That's a great thing. So, but Rhonda, let's make sure we'll have to have you back on and have a fuller conversation. But where can folks connect with you and learn more about your thought leadership as well as global trends?
Sure. Well, I'm very active, as you know, Scott, and try to join in as much as I can on the show on LinkedIn. But you can reach me through LinkedIn or just Google Global Trends and just give me a shout out. All my information's there. And, I just would thank you for your time, and I wish everybody health and happiness in the new year.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Where do we find Hold My Beer? No joke.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's on YouTube.
Okay.
So
we're off this Thursday, but we'll be back next week.
Amanda and Clay, let's see if we can't drop Rhonda's LinkedIn profile in the comments, as well as a link to Hold My Beer from YouTube. And that'd be easy, making things easier.
It really is Thirsty Thursday after all of my discussion around alcohol. We dropped Tequila Sunrise on Thursday and Hold My Beer on Thursday. And here we are telling people not to drink.
Hey,
well, I have water, honestly. It's just the concept.
That's right.
It's just,
maybe there's a little drinking, maybe a little wine, maybe a little beer.
And
but it's all in a healthy fashion.
Right. And you get outside and balance it with exercise and eating right and that kind of stuff. But you got to make time to splurge. So
you gotta have some fun.
That's right.
Let loose.
Well, Rhonda, thank you so much for joining us here today. Rhonda Bumpinza Zimmerman, PhD. Always a pleasure to reconnect with you, and we look forward to having you back with us in the new year. Thanks so much, Rhonda.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
You too. Merry Christmas. Happy
holidays. Bye-bye. Same to you.
Excellent. That was it was right on time. That was a last minute get. We had to go through Rhonda's agents and PR. No, I'm kidding, but I wanted to balance, especially this week, as we find folks stressing out over gifts and packages and all the what I call, just my opinion, all the negative stuff associated with the season. Right. That's why I love Thanksgiving. It's food and family and gratefulness, and we don't have to worry about tracking packages. But I love Rhonda. I've been a big fan of what Rhonda has shared via social media to balance and keep things in perspective. And I'm glad we were able to get 10 minutes with her here today.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's always helpful to talk about mental health, right? At this time. I mean, it's inevitable that you have to. There are a lot of people who aren't getting what they want out of the holiday season, and it's the end of the year is coming up. So a lot of people reflecting. So always good to have that kind of positive reinforcement.
Agreed. Okay.
Well, she's a doctor, so
you gotta listen to science. To science. All right. So we have a double feature here today on the Supply Chain Buzz, and love all the comments. I know we're trying to balance the guest input with some of the comments, but keep it coming. Love to see those conversations in the comments. We're going to bring in today our second featured guest.
Yes.
I want to welcome in Demostenes Perez, Chief Commercial Officer and co-founder of IPL Group. Demo, good afternoon.
Hey guys, how are you?
Doing fantastic.
Good.
Greg, we've talked about, and shame on us, because we've been wanting to get Demo on, make an appearance on live stream for months now. And we had to go through, I think he's got an army of agents and PR group, and we had to get in line. Oprah wanted to see him first, and then Wolf Blitzer. But finally, we got him here on the Supply Chain Buzz. So, Demo, how you doing?
Oprah and Wolf Blitzer. That's pretty good. We're moving up.
No, I'm so happy and thrilled to be here, guys. I'm a big fan of the show, so being here is a great thing for me.
Yeah,
well, thank you so much. So, Greg, where are we starting with Demo here today? Yeah,
that's a good question, Scott. So let me get back. I was so locked in on Rhonda, but since we know all about Rhonda, Demo, tell us a little bit about you, where you are, and kind of what you got your eyes on right now. So you're tackling supply chain for Central America. So
yes.
You're our eyes and ears down there.
Yeah. Today I'm broadcasting from the Colón Free Trade Zone in Panama, which is the biggest free trade zone in the Western Hemisphere, where our office is located. As you mentioned, I am the co-founder and Chief Commercial Officer of IPL Group. We are a 3PL, warehousing 3PL, focusing on order management, inventory management, fulfillment services for global companies that uses Panama as their regional distribution center for Latin America. Mainly Central America, as you mentioned, the Caribbean islands, and the north part of South America, meaning Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela. So those are our main markets, distributing out of Panama. So I have been on this industry for over 20 years now, and I'm an ops guy that now more focusing on building global relations and focusing on helping our customers to simplify a very complex operations which are distributing for this big number of countries. So this is what I'm focusing on right now.
Got it. That's fantastic. So, and you all kind of help people get through, and part of what you do is help people get through the canal, right?
Yes.
Not to talk all business, but Demo, I'm looking for a sailboat, and I understand that after people spend $1,200–1,300 to get through all the locks, they've had it with sailing by then. So if you get an eye on any good boats while you're down there, let me know.
I will.
Other than important things like people's sailboats, what all really has your attention right now in supply chain? I mean, it doesn't have to be holiday oriented, but what's really going on that we need to know about, that our community needs to hear?
Well, right now, one of our biggest concerns is the container shortage. This is a very tough situation. Actually, this morning coming to the warehouse, I was seeing a lot of non-operating reefer containers on the warehouses, because those are the equipments that are being used to bring goods from China, because there are not other regular dry containers. So you see a big line all over the streets of reefers, turnoff, and based on what I heard last week from a good friend from Maersk, this situation won't be better for the next 6 months.
Won't be better.
Won't be better.
Wow.
Because there are a couple of huge situations that are coming. First of all, the vaccine distribution will use reefer containers, and also what biggest season from exports from fruits and vegetables out of South America, it's coming. So they need the reefers, and we can't get the dry containers because are all stuck in the U.S. or Europe. So something very interesting is coming.
Yeah, well, and not to mention that the vaccines, right, that are shipping also need at least refrigeration, if not sub-zero. So
yes. Hey, let me share these two factoids from our friend, our mutual friend Enrique Alvarez and the Vector Global Logistics team. First off, 60% of global goods move by container. And according to the UN trade data, there are close to 180 million containers worldwide. However, check this out. Average container turnaround times have ballooned to 100 days, up from 60 days, 40 additional days to turnaround time. That is no wonder, right?
It's crazy. And the other thing is the worst part is the cost of the shipping, the rates. At this time, last year, a container from China were costing around $2,000. Now it's $6,000.
Right.
Wow. And it's growing as long as we know. So the cost of goods will be expensive, and that means that a lot of challenges coming.
That's right. Well, let's move from that huge problem that you're tracking, that everyone in the industry is tracking here lately, and hopefully we get some good news in the weeks and months ahead. But let's turn to the bigger picture in here in 2020. So, one of our favorite questions that Greg and I really enjoy hearing people address is those eureka moments. And we've really had some really intriguing, compelling moments in our interviews from that one very simple question. I remember learning about eureka moments in third grade with Miss Wells in my SOAR class. So in
your what class?
It was like a Students on Active Research is what it stood for.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was a creative kind of programming for folks that did their homework, maybe. So, but Miss Jackie Wells was did a great job teaching us about various things that you typically don't learn about in elementary school. So, when you think of your eureka moments and your key business observations from 2020, Demo, what does that make you think of?
Well, first of all, we have to learn to do business through Zoom.
Right.
That's something.
Yeah.
And it's for me. I've all the time I've been very close to the operations. Be on the warehouse, hear the beep of the forklift. And we have customers, and you go to conferences, so you gotta be present. Now, using the computer, you need to learn how to interpret what is going on the other side with the person. You don't have a coffee or a beer in a hand with this person, just to make the relation closer. And it's very hard. We have many experiences all over the year trying to do businesses over the screen. Some of them were really good. Others took longer. Typically you have, as I said, a coffee or a beer one time with a person, and then you have a time. But now you have to have 3, 4, 5 meetings in the Zoom just to understand what the other person is looking for, especially if it's in the other side of the world, or it's pretty interesting. But we made it. So this is for me one of the biggest things. We used to be always present, going to meetings every day. Especially for me, I was coming from Panama City, two operations, and then moving back. It was like a crazy schedule. But now you can do everything from your desk, right? In shorts and slippers. So it's something we learned this year.
But it is. I know you're a big relationship pro, Demo, and I like to say I am as well. And I think one of the missing things or more challenging things, and Greg, I think of content, with creating content, and I think of some of those really, when you get in a room, you get around a table, or you're at a trade show, and to your point, Demo, you get a chance for a Diet Coke or a Budweiser, and you're just kind of talking about everything but work, right? You're building some rapport and getting to know people, and then you get into business, or then, Greg, you get into the interview. And with Zoom, while you can still afford time for that, it seems to be, well, it definitely is much different in terms of, kind of warming up and building that rapport to get into business. It's just a little bit different here digitally, isn't it?
It is. And you're in different environments, and the phone is ringing, or the people with small kids are in my case with the dogs closing, barking, whatever. So this is a totally different procedure, let's say, to do business and to have meetings. So it's something we just learn, and we need to I think we need to get accustomed with that and move forward and doing that.
Agreed. All right. So before
there's a lot of good in it, frankly, in some cases, because we were expected to show up for, right? Yeah. And that's why we did. And now I think we've established the ability to develop relationships, to develop rapport, to do some of that water cooler discussion, Scott, that you're alluding to on these kind of meetings. I mean, because look, let's face it, Zoom didn't invent the video call. In fact, they were one of the latest to the party of all of them, right? Yeah.
Great
and
point.
In fact, there's still dozens out there that have been around for decades. So the thing that has changed is societal expectation and acceptance of this kind of interaction, mostly because we didn't have any choice. But now that we do, I think it will make those kind of interactions much more economical and frankly, much more effective. I can tell you that I've literally flown to Singapore for a 2-hour meeting before, right? That's 24 hours of travel for a 2-hour meeting one way. So, and I knew when I was doing it, it made absolutely no sense except for the money that we made.
Was that for a sailboat? I was about to ask you.
It was for closing a deal, but yes. But essentially it was, a 2-hour meeting, dinner, drinks, get on a plane, fly back around the other side of the world and get home. And I don't know how we function in those situations sometimes, frankly. It's mostly adrenaline. But now that we have this as an option, there is, I think that people will start to use it more effectively. We don't care about people's barking dogs or screaming children,
right.
And thankfully, we don't know what they're wearing below camera level. The slippers are cool. That's a great idea.
That's right. Well, hey, really quick, before you, Demo, share any more of your key observations with us, I want to recognize a few folks from the audience here. So going back to containers, David says that he's read most container manufacturers are already sold out of capacity for most of 2021. Let's see. Mike Averitt says during shutdown, a lot of shippers reduced capacity to help pricing. Prices have come back after being down from 2017 to 2019. Gary says, was that SOAR or SOAR? That was the former, SOAR, Students on Active Research. And along those lines,
I thought you said sword. Yeah.
I was not a fencer in
fencing class. Yeah.
Yes. Let's see here. AA says, with container shortages and transportation price hikes, we're coming closer to the break-even point where inshoring and nearshoring makes sense. Excellent point, AA. And by the way, Greg, we'll see if Clay and Amanda can drop it in the comments. I loved your profile of AA from, I think it was last week, right? On LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Love it. Amanda and Clay, let's see.
That was his incredible support of us. Obviously, his incredible support of Wichita State, the fact that he is a professor there. And if you look at the comments, he's clearly making an impact on people's lives. And he made the mistake of letting me know what one of his A's stood for.
I love it. Air capital of the world, hensely named by the 1929 Aeronautical Society of the U.S. I just dropped that in.
Right?
Yes, it was coined. It was coined by an aeronautical chamber in 1929. I got to look it up, but hey, let's see if we can drop that LinkedIn profile in the comments.
Yeah.
A couple of quick comments before we continue with Demo here. Kavan says prices have been highly affected by disruptions, especially the pandemic. We have not examined such a relationship between price and resilience. How to remain responsible concurrent with gaining profits in a disruption scenario. And you know where that takes my mind, Greg. How to find opportunities without being opportunistic, as our dear friend Kevin Bell dropped on us.
Yeah, that's right. And how some of the most obvious cases of being opportunistic really grate me a bit. But everyone cares about those, so even today.
That's right. David, who says hello, Demo, by the way, he says, we all found out just how many meetings could have been emails. I completely agree.
100%.
All right. So,
although I got to tell you, I still miss those water cooler conversations. I can tell you that I have, and I know lots of people that have solved real big problems by walking by somebody in the hallway and having a completely unrelated conversation that ignites that thing that I thought only happened in cop shows, right? When they make them take the 2 days off and they see something in the park and they go, oh, that's how I'm going to solve the crime. That stuff really happens. But for me, it often has to be in a physical environment.
Yeah. Excellent point, Greg. You know, I completely agree. I think that does work. I can remember, especially when I was in manufacturing, dealing with some very complex challenges to now as an entrepreneur. And you know, there's no shortage of challenges there. And sometimes you just got to shut down for the day and then come and revisit it the next morning after a new, nice night of sleep and 17 cups of coffee. You can uncover some of these eureka moments for sure. All right, so Demo, and really enjoy your sentiment. Clearly, folks in the comments do as well. What else really sticks out when you look back at proverbial question 20 years from now? You're looking back at the year that was in 2020. What else sticks out as a big lesson learned?
Well, you need to take into consideration that at the beginning of this year, I quit my job as a corporate executive and I became an entrepreneur just before the pandemic. So opening a company with a partner, we started with all these energies, and then the pandemic came out. So projects that we have in line just dropped or hold. And so we need to rethink the complete project. So one of the things that we learned, I personally learned this year, is you need to always be curious on opportunities and able to change plans, but always moving forward. There are many things coming. All this, despite the human tragedy of this pandemic, there's a lot of opportunities to do things, and I think that we need to look at the good part of this tragedy, right?
Agreed. I love that sentiment.
Words of wisdom. Always be curious. That is so brilliant. Yeah.
Agreed. So for the sake of time, I want to make sure our audience knows how to connect with you, Demo. I also want to give them a heads up. We take a deeper dive with the one and only Demo Perez in an upcoming episode of one of our newest series, Supply Chain Now in Espanol, that's led by Enrique Alvarez. So we look forward to releasing that, maybe the second version, Demo, in a month or so.
Cool.
We should have done this in Spanish. Scott.
Well,
yeah. Next time we'll do it in Spanish.
Demo, I love your Greg. I don't know about you. I've always picked up while Demo and I haven't spent a bunch of time in person, you can tell when there's positive people that always bring a breath of fresh air to conversations on top of their expertise and leadership and everything else. It's that disposition that Demo strikes me that he has, Greg.
Entrepreneurs are always like that. You have to believe, right?
Yeah.
You have to be dumb enough to believe that you can actually change the world. And sometimes you're actually good enough to do it. And that is amazing. So I love that spirit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it takes guts and it takes being optimistic, and it takes a little bit of, what do I want to say? Self-confidence, obviously, right? I mean, you really have to believe that you can change the world. And I think you have displayed here that you can have an enormous impact on it, Demo. So I really appreciate your spirit.
I do too. Hey, really quick before we find out from Demo where folks can connect with him, we're finding some eureka moments in the comments here. Mike says his best thinking comes in the shower, is responding to Tom. And David says for that very reason, he has a whiteboard in his shower. David, I am impressed, and I'm going to steal that idea from you.
How does that even work?
You know what? I have heard the Tom Raffrey podcast in the shower many times.
Tom, that is
How does that work?
Yeah.
You have waterproof headphones?
No, just putting it loud.
In stereo.
Yeah. Actually, the one that was released this morning, I get it on the shower. So
there we go.
And Wanda is already challenging us. The next one in Portuguese, maybe. Yes. So stay tuned. We're going to tackle our first.
Challenging. Yeah.
Yes. Not English.
Thank you for being here one day.
That's right.
I only know how to say it. I don't speak Portuguese in Portuguese.
Wait, Dima, let's make sure folks can connect with you and IPL Group. So what's the easiest way?
Well, you can find us on our website. It's 3plpanama.com. It's very easy.
I think you dropped that in the comments. I think one of Daniel might have dropped that in the comments.
Cool. Yeah. Danny probably put it. Yeah, it's the easy way to find what we do here and what we can do for businesses. And I'm always I try to be as much as I can close to LinkedIn. Time is not always a huge resource, but I try to be at least once a day just to connect with all the people there. So
excellent. Well, it's a shame it took us this long, but we're going to have you back soon in 2021. And I look forward to promoting your thought leadership in that deeper dive interview with Enrique Alvarez. So, Demo, as a fellow entrepreneur, I'm so excited about what 2021 is going to mean for your company. We're in it together for sure. And we look forward to reconnecting soon. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Yeah.
For you two guys. And I'm very happy to be here and always supporting what you do. And, hope with the Espanol version works really well.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Will. There's a lot of demand. Thanks, Demo.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, man. There's a spirit to him that it's just.
Show feels different somehow. There's a spirit to you here, too. I think everybody is in it now, and it feels good.
Agreed. That is a special thing about one of my favorite things about the holiday season is folks are a little bit more patient. They're a little bit more empathetic, unless they're waiting for packages. And I'm kidding.
Or whatever. or in a parking lot. Yeah, just
right.
Stay in parking lots. Right.
Well, hey, everyone, we dropped Demo's in the LinkedIn profile in the show notes, so you can definitely connect with him that way. It was my oversight. I did not include Dr. Benpinza Zimmerman's LinkedIn in the show notes, but I believe Clay and Amanda dropped that in the comments. I love the conversations that were going on. We couldn't get to all of them, but we want to wrap up on a couple of final notes, Greg. There's no shortage of things going on. All right, speaking of inspiring stories. So this is a quote from Mary Barra, who I got to know better over the weekend. She says, quote, "When we have to make tough decisions, giving direction and setting the strategies for the products of General Motors, there should be constructive tension. We should have vigorous debates. But Greg, as you like saying, after the tension's been experienced and after the vigorous debates have been had, you make a decision and you move forward as a team, right?
Right. Disagree and commit.
Disagree and commit. T-shirt. Disagree.
I can't claim origin for that, but yeah, it's critical to do that, right? As a management team, even if you disagree, you've got to at least commit.
Excellent point. And let's see. So Mary Barra, she started working at General Motors at 18. She spent a lifetime there thus far, was named CEO and then chairman and CEO 2 years later. And really, by most accounts, she has done a remarkable job navigating through some major crises, especially right after she was named CEO. And we got to know her story a little bit better in 15 minutes time on This Week in Business History. So check that out wherever you podcast from and give us feedback, including a surprising connection between Mary Barra and one of the world's most famous companies. So you have to check that out. All right, Greg, one other comment that struck me, I think this was in the Wall Street Logistics Report this morning. Ryan Yost says COVID, quote, COVID accelerated the role of technology for supply chains. What we thought was on the horizon for 2025, the horizon will be implemented in 2021. Greg, I know you're chomping at the bit to comment on that.
Yeah. I have been saying now for 10 months, right? If you've been using manual processes, and I just know that, and spreadsheets and old legacy technology. And as I say, if you have built your house on sand and you have survived this catastrophic flood, don't be foolish to do it again. Build your house on stone, and that stone is the technology of the future.
That's right. Don't use straw or sticks to build your house either. Make it be bricks. Lesson learned also harkens back to the latest episode of This Week in Business History. All right. So, hey, if you appreciate all of our audience and community showing up today and sharing so many great comments and questions, including a couple of first-time Supply Chain Buzz community members, keep it coming. I hope we wish y'all, of course, a wonderful holiday season. You can learn more about us at supplychainnow.com, where, again, our mission is to serve as the voice of supply chain. Greg, this is going to be the last time we speak with our listeners live this week. We've got no shortage of content otherwise, but if you had a couple of wishes to share with our community members, what would that be?
Yeah, if I missed any of you that I wished Happy Hanukkah to, or that I should have wished Happy Hanukkah to, which ended yesterday, hopefully you had a Happy Hanukkah. If you are a Christmas celebrator, have a beautiful, wonderful Christmas. Feliz Navidad. And look, we're going to drop some classic episodes. Of course, what would we do at the end of the year besides that? But we're going to have some special stuff for you for, I think we're doing one more buzz this year, correct?
Agreed. And you know what? Not only so Chris, I think it's Chris Razone. I think I might be saying his last name incorrect, but so I saw Chris tweet something out, and it really challenged me because, as you just mentioned there, Greg, most podcasts here year end do a lot of recycling, which is nothing wrong with. We love our classic conversations that folks may have missed the first go round, but he kind of inspired us to keep creating new content and really get takes from each of our hosts. So we got some great conversations teed up there. We dropped, speaking of classic content, one thing that we didn't mention, but we've got a link in the show notes is Norman. What was that? So Amanda is shouting to me from the
marketing office.
So the Godfather lean, Norman Bodek, unfortunately passed away just a week or so ago, about 10 days ago, I believe. And talk about an iconic business legend and in so many different ways and shapes and forms. And our dear friend Chris Barnes sat down with the Godfather of Lean back in October 2019. And we stitched together what was a 3-installment interview, and we released that in our main channel Sunday morning. And man, some some folks aren't always as advertised. Norman was chock full. I think it's about an hour and a half interview, and it's just Chris does a great job getting, picking Norman's brain, and it's intriguing stuff. So there is a good reason to have classic content, but we're accepting a challenge, and we're going to keep churning out new content over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so we're going to turn the tables on our hosts, right, and make them explain themselves.
Yes, agreed. And
who's going to interview you, Scott?
Oh, no, I stay on this side.
Oh, is that how that works? Are you sure?
Pretty sure. Well, hey, I'm not quite Six Sigma sure, but I'm pretty sure. But hey, this is a great conversation. I really appreciate Rhonda and Demo taking time out of their busy schedule, especially this week, to join us and share some really helpful insights with our audience. Thanks so much, the community. You kept it coming as always. Best wishes to each of you and your families, wherever you're from. And we're looking forward. We'll be with you before the year turns over. I know we're all ready to flip that calendar. But Greg, it's been a pleasure to jump on this with you each Monday this year. And of course, Clay and Amanda and the whole team behind the scenes that make this happen. But hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year from our whole team here. And on that note, do good, give forward, be the change that's needed. And we'll see you next time here on Supply Chain Now. Thanks, everybody.